My testimony. 3 times in which my offerings were multiplied in some other ways in which they were rewarded back to me. So this is the 3 times in which my offerings were multiplied back to me, in which I was rewarded back when I gave. This could be the beginning of a new series from me, depending on how you guys like and how you guys receive these type of videos. So I'll be talking about myself the 3 times. As you've been reading the Bible the whole time, it talks about offerings, that when you offer, when you give, the things that you plant, the seeds that you sow will be multiplied back to you. I'll also be putting different kinds of scriptures on the screen so that you see they refer to the Bible in different New Testament, Old Testament, wherever they spoke about sowing a seed. And if it's your first time watching, make sure you smash that subscribe button, and as well as make sure you hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload new videos. So let us begin. The first time, in fact, let me refer you to Psalms 126 verse 5 and 6. Psalm 126 verse 5 and 6, which speaks about when you saw, according to the Bible, when you saw while you are crying, you will come back rejoicing. When you go back and forth with your bag, with your seed, trying to sow a seed, at the end, you're going to reap back. You're going to rejoice. You'll be happy. So it shows the benefits of sowing a seed, in which in some other ways it also speaks, it refers to also when you give. Even if you can look at the New Testament, sowing, also it speaks about sowing a seed when you're planting in the farm. That's the case, of course, but also it's another way. They're trying to use a parable in which you can give money and it will be multiplied back to you, or you can give something and it will be multiplied back to you. So the first time I encountered a miracle and I saw God this way working in my life is when I was still, I think it was 2009, I was still in high school. I think it was 2009, if not 2010. I was like, my mom bought me this nice leather jacket. This leather jacket is like everyone liked it. People complimented it, me on it. So I was like, I love this leather jacket. Then finally, one time I was in church. People were giving. It was almost like a special service. Then I felt like the Spirit of God is telling me to give that leather jacket. And I knew that was the only leather jacket I had, the best jacket I had. I didn't have any other jackets. But then I felt like, let me just obey. And indeed, I obeyed. And mind you, I was not working. I was still in high school. It's not like I knew that I'm going to buy a new one. But I gave that jacket, I think it was around end of June, or towards the end of June or early July, somewhere there. After I gave it, it was hard. So just like that scripture in Psalm 126, verse 5, I was crying in my heart, but I was glad I obeyed the voice of God. Then on August, surprisingly, a miracle happened. My sister took me to a shopping store, and she bought me different kind of clothes. And it's not like something that was always happening. It was not a usual thing for me for her to buy me clothes. So I saw a miracle because some sort of like a month after, my sister took me to buy me different kind of clothes, shoes, trousers, t-shirts. So it was multiplied back to me because of one leather jacket that I gave. She just took me. I didn't even ask. So that was amazing. I gave thanks to God for that. Secondly, the second time in which I saw God working in my life, or my seed, or God multiplied my offering, it was back in, I think it was, which year was it? It was 20, I can't really recall, but it was in a case where like I also gave. I gave it was in 2014, where it's like I was in a case where in fact, let me start with this one. It was 2013. In fact, it's like I had written an exam, and after writing that exam, I was so sure that it nailed me. Some modules that it's like I was in university by that time. I was so sure that those models, they've really beaten me up. And then I decided to just also was like praying, hoping for a miracle. And I also gave some certain amount of money in an envelope and sowing a seed. And when I went to this other prayer mountain, I gave that envelope also with a prayer request. Also, I put it down that I want to pass all those modules. And surprisingly, I passed all of them. And to show that really I was this close to have failed, some of them I noticed that the marks were low to the point that it was just a narrow escape from those modules, that indeed I would have failed them. But I gave thanks to God because indeed He came through for me. So that was the second time. And the third time, it was in 2014. There was this other minister who was ministering. I was in the university as well. So when he came, I just felt in my, it was towards, I think it was October of 2014, and I was saving up some cash for December times. During my savings, I knew that I was God, so that I don't suffer with cash and all. But as the minister was ministering, I felt the Spirit of God pushing me to give that. I have saved up to 1,000 rands. So I felt the Spirit of God pushing me to give that money. And finally, I've tried to ignore that voice and all. Fortunately, he came and there were so many services. So finally, I think it was an evening service or a morning service, I can't recall very well. Yeah, I think it was in the morning service. I decided to just obey. I withdrew 1,000 rands. After the service, I went back. I went first into my room and I decided to go back. And fortunately, it was still there in those classrooms where they were ministering, a huge hall. So I went back there and I just told him, I feel like God is telling me to give you this amount of money, and he prayed for me. And then towards the end of November, it was almost also like a month after, I just received a phone call from Cell C. They told me that I've been entered into this competition. I'll be live on air on radio, and they're gonna ask me some few things, and I'll stand the chance to win some certain amount of money. So they made me to choose some certain letters, and I chose I, since it was an epic competition, so also of some sort. So they asked me to choose between E, P, or P, I, or C. Then I was like, I'll choose an I for Ishmael. And then with that I got to receive 7.5. I won 7.5. It was almost like it was a guarantee I was going to win. So I won 7.5, and from giving 1,000 rands. So those are the times where I saw God working through my offerings. Not that God has not been blessing me these other times, but most of the time you find that I'm financially sorted. So every time I'm giving, of course. So sometimes I don't count them, just because you find that I'm not even noticing, because of just like find that now I have so much money. You find that even if God is to give me a certain amount of money, I won't really pay attention because I'm not really in need, or I'm really expecting a miracle. But these times I was really almost desperately expecting a miracle, and I saw God answering when I gave something which it was not even easy to give. Some offerings found that you give, but you found that it was easy, you didn't even feel anything. So these were the times in which I noticed that really, God, I gave, and may you do something. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and also make sure, remember to smash that subscribe button on the bottom of this video, that red button down there. Just click it, hit the notification bell. And as for me, Ishmael, and also before I say that, make sure you share this video with your loved ones so that it can help them. This is a testimony, so make sure you share with the others. And as for me, Ishmael, and your priest, I will see you next time.